Hi guys, welcome back. For a while I've been working on the workshop because I need to increase the space a bit. This car has been, this is the E30, the other one I'm building. We found a donor engine and a donor car for it. Something really exciting is happening with this. We're actually planning on putting a V8, but I'll have to get that car started before I put everything in. I think the ideal way of swapping an engine is making sure the donor car runs and starts and is fine before you get into it, because the wiring is quite crucial. Also, often people swap in engines without having everything. They just import the engine, and that's really challenging. So when we have everything, why don't we just make it work first and then swap it in? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make that other car run first, which is something really interesting, and then swap it into this and make it work. I do have to do a lot of mechanical changes to this car. The suspension will change in the front and the back, so that is going to be a challenge, and I have to source all the right bits. So there is going to be another donor car. Hopefully that'll work out as well. That'll be an E36 for the front suspension and some rear suspension components if possible. I've been daily driving this for a couple of weeks and probably done around over 1,000 kilometers. Really practical car. So it's great to be able to use this, and yeah, way more practical than the rest of the stuff I have around here. I'm also working on my own E30. I was doing a manual swap into this and I faced some challenges. I also had to rip apart the engine wiring. There was a problem over there. So I need to redo the engine wiring on this car and figure out the prop shaft. So the prop shaft basically connects the gearbox over here all the way to the diff, and it's made of two halves. It joins over here. So I've sent it to a friend who's into modified racing cars and stuff like that, and I'll get that fabricated. We'll be shortening an E34 prop shaft, so that is slightly longer and beefier. We'll swap that into this, and hopefully the car starts up well. There is also the question of the gear shift linkages. So there is something over here, like a little, how would I say that? This would have to twist and move back and forward. There's a set of linkages, and the gear shifter would go through this hole. So that is something I'll have to shorten as well, because it's sourced out of a longer car. So that has to be shortened. But today I'll be talking about this. Basically, this is the M3 bumper. The other car, and probably as well as mine, will be getting M3 bumpers. That'll get a full M3 kit in spite of it being a sedan. But I'll be 3D printing the parts piece by piece, and I do have to make them into more manageable sizes. So I start off with 3D models from a game like Forza Horizon, or I buy the models, and luckily I've been able to get them scaled up. So I need to get the width, I need to get the depth, I guess that's what we would call this, and I need to get the height as well. So there aren't any other M3s here, but there is another four-door car being built. The owner of that car is very helpful, but I've been getting whatever dimensions I could off of the net and with help from other guys, and I managed to scale this. So this is scaled correctly. What I had to do was then take that 3D model and split it into manageable pieces that can be 3D printed. So this is one whole piece. This is another whole piece, another whole piece. We've got the hole for the indicator. This is for the brake duct. This is another piece, and this is split into two pieces. So the challenge is making it so that you waste as little material as possible. In this case, if I direction it this way, the supports are less than if I had to do it this way and support the backside. So yeah, take the models from a racing game, scale them correctly. So I've split it up into manageable pieces. I'm currently using two machines, one which is an Ender 3 that could print something like this easily, and I'm also using something slightly better. It's called an Ender 5 Plus. So it's almost double the size. It can print stuff this size, but sometimes I do face challenges where I still have to split it. Also, I can reduce the time I spend printing if I print these in one, split them up. So that's what I did over here, and now I'm gonna have to glue these. What I do is I first put some duct tape over here, join the pieces, make sure they're all aligned correctly, and then I put some 2-part epoxy that joins the pieces together. I'll then have to put body filler over this, primer it, get it smooth, create the edges for the mold and create the mold. But today all I'm going to do, talk about how I'm going to put this together, just the 3D stuff. So here's the first part of the bumper. We had a little bit of a problem over here because the supports fell down, but it worked out all right. Now I'll have to finish these, and I think I'll have to make a total of 10 pieces. So let's see how that goes. I had a power outage for a split second, and it looks like the print didn't fail yet. So it's going to be able to resume. Let's see how that goes. Let's see if it resumes right back on the main line. So one of the challenges I face is that these pieces have to be aligned correctly. But I also want this to print out quickly. This took a week of printing. That means day and night. The machines were working day and night to print this stuff, and that's also quite exhausting. There are failures. Sometimes you have to redo stuff, and that's where things are a challenge. You could actually print these thicker and then have something to align everything, but right now I just have to go by feel and eye, because otherwise this would take double, triple the amount of time just to print it out. The machines do have their limitations, and that is the problem. So I do have to make it as thin as possible, yet strong enough that it takes the heat while I'm making the mold. The other challenge is that this has to be scaled correctly. Sometimes there are things that change a bit, so I might have to, figure that out post-processing. But that's pretty much it. So I will be doing more of this process later on. And if you guys want to see something in particular, I could try to showcase those bits. So let me know about that. Splitting the front bumper into two. This part was low polygon. I tried to make it smoother with some resin, but it still doesn't have the right shape. You may notice that it's a bit boxy and flat in certain areas. So instead what I've done is I've taken another model, remade the top part of the bumper, and I'll be pasting this on top of that. So this is the first piece that I've made of this whole kit. This is the second. I made the rear bumper, I've glued it together. Now I need to just fine tune it, put some body filler, and get it all sorted out. So that's the next step. I'll also have to reinforce it a bit and make it stronger before I get into the whole mold making and body filler process. So here's the bumper now. I was a little unhappy with it at the start, and as you can see, I took my frustration out on it, thinking I would fix it further, but it didn't work out. Basically what I did first was I split it in half because this was low polygon. I thought I could sand this down, put putty, and bring it to make it better. But it turns out that at the seam line, it wasn't matching properly. The other thing is this was left, that was doable. There was something I could fix there, but there was deformation due to sunlight. Because of the heat of the sun, it was really hot in the last few months. This completely deformed. So what I'm plan on doing is completely remaking this. And yeah, I plan to remake this whole front bumper. The side skirts are ready. The side skirts have been made. The back bumper has been made. I still have to make the spoiler, the fenders, and the C-pillars. So that has to be done, and the trunk. So this is just the start of it. This is just halfway through. Mostly the things that people notice are the bumpers and the skirts, spoiler too. But yeah, I'll run you guys through the process a little better in the next videos about how I 3D print it, how I make the models work, how I attach these together, how I reinforce the back. So this has been reinforced. I tried to put resin on the front, but that was a bad idea and I lost details. So I put some fiberglass on the back to stiffen it up before I make a mold. I'll have to redo the surface, maybe outsource that. I might outsource the painting and stuff. But if I do it in-house, I'll definitely show you guys that. The other thing I had was a little bad news on the engine. This these hydraulic lifters in this area, they are completely jammed. There was a hole in the valve cover, which is a big problem because I was just scraping stuff and it had a hole. So I'm guessing this engine is flooded. The starter was bad. So I thought basically I can open the engine, change the timing belt, and service the engine. You know, basically what you do for a 75,000 kilometer car, do that service. But it turns out that's not what the case is. Although we did pick this up cheap, so we will have to bear with it. And there are things that we can do. We can upgrade some stuff. Maybe we'll make it a manual. That's what I plan to do. So that's good. Maybe that's the silver lining here. We take a little bit more effort, but we got something cheaper. So that's that. I hope you guys can tell me some more stuff you want to see next time. We do work on these bumpers and stuff like that, the 3D printing. I'll try to run you guys through the process more detailed next time. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Thank you.